Okay, hi everybody. Today I want to talk about fatigue because I have a lot of ways I think I can help you with this symptom. And, fatigue, we all know what fatigue is. When you're tired, you're fatigued, and when you rest, you feel better. That is not the same as the medical definition of fatigue. The medical definition is fatigue that is not relieved by rest. So, there you are. You have absolutely nowhere to go with that symptom, with that description. It's like you're left with, like, I don't know, patiently suffering because there's nothing you can do. If it's not relieved by rest, you can't do anything about it. So I kind of accidentally discovered this. My darling Kathleen, who was an ARMP, was always right with me through this whole process of disease. And she was going to come and pick me up and take me home with her, but she was on a really tight timeline. And so I needed to be ready to go when she got here. So this is the other thing about the medical description of fatigue. It's extremely severe. So I'm sitting in my chair and I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to get out of my chair because I'm calculating every tiny little thing because that's the level I was at. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, can I get out of the chair? Can I stand up? If I stand up, can I make it into the kitchen, which is like 30 steps? My goal was to have some coffee because I thought that might help me. But I just gave up at that point. I called Kathleen and I said, hey, I can't pack. I can't be ready. And she started asking me questions. And she said, well, do you think you could get the suitcase? I'm like, oh, no, it's on a shelf. No way. And she just kept asking me questions until she got down to something that was simple enough that I could do it. And I don't even remember what that was because my thought was, oh, I do have some energy. And as soon as I had that thought, I realized this is, maybe this is about energy and something going really wrong with our body's ability to make and store energy. And so, and I'm not saying all of you doctors and researchers are wrong for calling it fatigue. I just found a way to look at it differently. So my first thought, my first solution, number one, is like, oh, well, I'll just go research this and I'll figure out, what the process of changing food into energy is, and I'll just figure it out. Well, yeah, I got to like the second website, the first website, and I'm like, I'm way out of my depth here. I don't understand the terms. I mean, it's a complicated chemical process that I can't follow because I don't understand half of the words. So it's like, well, okay, that's not going to work. So then I went to solution two, which is just like, well, why don't I just track my energy? Why don't I just see myself what's going on? And that was really hard because I had to have a pen and paper right there so I didn't have to use the energy to get it. And lots of days it's like I'm way too tired to write down anything. But over a period of weeks, I realized that it was about energy levels for me as a practical matter. And I'll just do the bad news first. The bad news is that energy completely unpredictable, and that is very hard to deal with in terms of living a normal life. And it can happen like, those big storm drains, and in a storm, you see how that water is just rushing down that drain. I could be standing up at the refrigerator and that would happen. The giant drain would appear and my energy would just rush into that thing, that drain, like a storm water. And the other thing was that energy, they varied. And I guess I knew this, but it's different when you kind of step back and look at it from a bigger picture. Because it's like my energy, I had no idea how much it varied over the course of a day or, an hour. And again, it's very hard to finish your activities of daily life when you have no idea where you're going to be with energy. The truly good news was that this discovery was a game-changing, life-changing thing, because you're still in that little corral of disease, but when you understand what energy level you're at and how it's going to affect you, you get some control back over your life, and you can, things go much better, because instead of being blindsided, you're like, oh, okay, that's this energy level. I know what to do. I know how to treat it. I know, most importantly, how to link my activities to my energy level. Because with chronic disease, there is no such thing as pushing it or powering through. You're just going to make yourself worse. So the important thing to learn is, what can I do with the energy level that I have? And this has made an amazing difference in my life, knowing this. Okay, and so once I had identified energy levels, then I had to figure out some usable way to incorporate them into my life. So it made no sense to say, oh, it's energy level number 4, because I knew I'd never remember what the characteristics of 4 were. And also, things don't happen in a sequence, so numbering them just made no sense at all. So I was at a site that I used to visit a lot called cheeseburger.com one day, and it was a site at that time where people would send in pictures of their pets and they put captions underneath them, funny captions. So I'm looking at this picture of this little tiny kitten, and it's kind of in a corner, and it's kind of like, ugh. And the caption was, just go on without me. And I'm like, OMG, that's an energy level that I have. I recognize that, because when you're at just go on without me, it's like, you don't care that you don't have any energy. You don't really care about anything. It's kind of calm and peaceful in a way, but that's a very low energy level. It means you're pretty much spending the day in bed. So that was my first discovery. And I'm just going to give you a sampler today of 2 energy levels, because it's overwhelming to start it all at once. But what I suggest that you do, if you want to, is see if you've experienced either one of these energy levels and kind of look for them to appear. And the second one I call meh, because there can be a real big split between your mental energy and your physical energy with a chronic illness. So your mind can be at a totally different place than your body. So, this is an energy level where your mind is just agitated. You're angry, you're frustrated, you're pissed off, you're sick of it. It's just terrible. And your body is just meh, doesn't care. So those are 2. And the other thing I want to say is that fatigue is a symptom. Remember, there's between 10 and 24 million people who have chronic illness with fatigue as a symptom. And you may not, that's a large variety, a number of diseases. So you may not experience these levels in the same way, but hopefully you'll still have the information you need to kind of know what to do when you run into them. So you may or may not have the same energy levels that I do. So in the future, I'm going to do a separate little video on each energy level and kind of fully explain that. What to do, how to deal with it, how to stabilize yourself if you need to, and most importantly, what you can do and what you can't do, because that is just so helpful and important to know. So please give me a like if you like the video, because then YouTube, that's what determines how many people YouTube shows this to. And there are a lot of people out there who I would love to get this information to. So please like and share. It's been a pleasure talking to you today, and I'll see you next time.